Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Am I really That is unintentional. I have the same shirt on I had in my very last episode, and I did not mean to do that. Anyway, welcome back to RJ Rennie Unhinged, episode 11. And there is potential to have some unhinged in this video today. And I'm going to tell you right now, some of you are not going to like what I have to say. But there is merit in all of this. And I'll explain as I go along. Some may say the claims I'm about to make are racist, but they are not. Some may say that I'm a white supremacist. Then again, a lot of people say that just because, I exist, that I'm white. That's what SJWs think. But of course, I'm not. But things need to be said and things need to be cleared up. Attentions to real issues have to be brought into focus. And to start with, yesterday on 420, amid clouds of haze from various college campuses around the country, came the verdict in the Derek Chauvin trial in the case of George Floyd. They found him guilty on all charges. I believe it was second-degree murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter. Now, I would have maybe been alright with manslaughter. I'm not entirely convinced, because I've seen many demonstrations done on, or several demonstrations by one guy in particular done on this, to where those weight ratios, kneeling on your neck like that, will not cause you to die. Even for 9.5 minutes, however long it was. It will not cause you to die if you're healthy. It's uncomfortable, but it will not cause you to die. The picture that shows Chauvin with his knee more to a right angle, is less weight being restricted on the person below him that they are restraining. So maybe I could understand manslaughter, something that Chauvin did, or the officers did in general, may have caused something to cause Floyd's death. Is Chauvin responsible? I don't think so. But now he will forever live as a martyr for Black Lives Matter. And we saw with Nancy Pelosi yesterday almost praying to the spirit of Jesus Floyd, thanking him for lighting the way and giving us our first dose of justice. This was not justice. Mainly because I don't think there is in any way, shape, or form that this was a fair trial, and it will likely be appealed. Because two of the many circumstances that could have happened, but number one, and I have these written down here so I don't lose, the first time RJ comes in with the script, because he's got a couple things that he wants to address here. First one, I don't think there's any way, and this is opinion for me, alright? I have no way of proving this. I'm just saying what I think. I don't think there's any way that those jurors, most of them, if not all of them, were unbiased going in. I don't think that. I think most of them had their minds made up before this trial began. Because, I'll bring these up in a second, there are 4 pieces of evidence that the defense brought in that should have made this case in any other situation already won in the defense's favor. Any other scenario. But because of what transpired after it, and because of the threats, the literal threats that were made, and this is the second thing, is the attention that this trial got from the media, from elected officials, all saying that if you do not give us the outcome we want, you see all this stuff that happened last summer? It's about to get a hell of a lot worse. For example, see Maxine Waters. We need to be more confrontational because we don't want anything but murder. Even if it's manslaughter, we're going to get more confrontational. We're going to be in the streets. We need to be more so. You ain't seen nothing yet. That last part may have been fabricated, but the rest of it is not. Literally saying that they will be in the streets to get what they want. Media outlets saying that there is only one possible solution to this trial. That is real means of justice. You don't think that had any influence on this case? The case was public well before it started and had constant media coverage throughout the entirety of it. It's not a very sequestered jury. That jury is definitely influenced by what it hears. It's very likely this could get appealed, and it probably will. And in that case, there is no jury, and it goes straight to the Court of Appeals. But anyway, back to what the defense said. So, over the course of the trial, the defense, like, after the initial coroner's report had its case, that Floyd did not die from asphyxiation. Like, that was not his cause of death. He did not have anything restricting his oxygen flow. And the slogan for all of this stuff, I can't breathe, he was saying that well before he was put on the ground. He was stressed out by the entire situation because he didn't show his hands and Chauvin pulled his gun. Perfectly within Chauvin's right. You don't know what the other hand is reaching for. And that probably riled up Floyd's systems in the drugs he had in his system. Everyone's like, oh, you're going to bring up his drugs? Yeah, I'm going to bring up his drugs. He had 4 times the lethal amount of fentanyl, Chinese fentanyl, in his system. And meth. So you have the lethal dose. Then there's 4 times that is what was found in George Floyd's corpse. On top of that, his drug dealer pleaded the 5th so that he could not be prosecuted for manslaughter. That should tell you something. That neck restraint that Derek Chauvin used against George Floyd is taught by the Minneapolis Police Department. Now, so if you got a problem with what Chauvin did, you got a problem with what they're taught. Because that is what the Minneapolis Police Department is taught. I personally am not a fan of it. I think it could lead to issues. In this case, it didn't. But it has been used many, many times. This is not an outlying circumstance. That same technique, kneeling on the neck, has been used many, many times. And this is the first time that something like this has happened. Mainly it's because there were other factors that maybe inhibited Floyd's breath before he was even on the ground. And, you know, if you were suffocating, you'd think you would have a lack of oxygen. Well, he died with a 98% blood oxygen level. I don't know what that tells me. He did not die from lack of oxygen, which means he could breathe. At least he wasn't strangled. If he couldn't breathe, maybe it was because the drugs in the system mixed with the stress that he was feeling caused his system to go on the fritz. This evidence was presented by the defense. This should make that case plain and dry. It was routine procedure. Plus, the cops were very generous with Floyd throughout this entire thing. If he would have just left him in the backseat of the car, according to the prosecution, he would have been fine. But he asked to come out because he was hyperventilating and he said he couldn't breathe. He's like, wanted to be down, outside, on the ground. Done. But this dude's he's a big dude. They had to restrain him still. So anyway, that's what the defense brought up. That's why I think, if anything, manslaughter was acceptable. Chauvin in no way murdered this man. In no way. Especially following his, I heard one of the guys say, accepted police practices. Well, this is an accepted police practice in the Minneapolis Police Department because it's what they're taught. But it's not. This trial means more than Derek Chauvin going behind bars temporarily until it's appealed. It means more than that. And we saw this no more than 2 hours after the trial concluded. Black Lives Matter, in their eyes, is now 2-0. And the fact is, they rioted, they destroyed cities, destroyed property, destroyed businesses, and on several occasions killed people in their protests. And now, according to them, they have their president in office and the killer of their Jesus behind bars. So next time they're pissed off about something, do you think they're just going to sit back and peacefully protest because they got what they wanted? You just showed the mob that they can get everything that they want from rioting. If that doesn't terrify you, I don't know what will. This was shown less than 2 hours after the verdict came in, where Ma'Khia Bryant was shot in Columbus by, not only did she have a knife, she was actively wielding it and about to stab someone when she was shot down by police protecting the other people there, and they rioted outside the precinct and jumped on top of a freaking semi-truck because justice. You cannot appease the mob. If you think you can, you are delusional. This jury, I guarantee you, and I agree with what Tucker said, this jury said unanimously, please don't come after us. We've had enough of this. And the mob said, on the contrary, you've just given us an avenue to get whatever we want. And this is not going to go away. If you think the riots are bad now, just wait. You just open up a whole new can of worms. They can get whatever they want now. The only difference is, this summer, people aren't locked down. And there's a lot of people with guns that aren't going to put up with this shit. Not for another summer. Things could get messy. They probably will. Because the mob now thinks that it can control things, especially with a puppet sitting in the Oval Office. But there's a lot of people, law-abiding citizens, that have property to protect and the means with which to do it. And if the cops are going to be told to stand down, other people will not be. Buckle up and get ready, because shit's about to get real. I'm seeing this trial for more than what it is. They've been dog whistling to Black Lives Matter all summer, and it was all preached in the name of Jesus Floyd. The reason I bring up Jesus Floyd is because one of the witnesses for the prosecution was going to make a comparison between Jesus Christ and George Floyd. And even the prosecution was like, we're going to make a motion not to let this language come into the court. And the judge, of course, approved it. Both George Floyd and Derek Chauvin are assholes. I do not think they are good people. But one asshole committed crime. The other asshole did his best to stop it. Yet this is the man you're going to lift to the perch, put on a pedestal of martyrdom. And now he's apparently was murdered, which gives you even more logs to put on your fire. Well, while you kneel down to Jesus Floyd, or Nancy Pelosi apparently prays to his spirit, I guess. I don't know. The rest of us are going to try to open our businesses, and we are going to try to get back to normalcy. And I can guarantee you, if stuff like this starts happening again, it will not end well. And that's not a threat. That is saying we endured this for one summer. I don't think people are going to want it to happen again. BLM wants it to happen again because they can get whatever they want now. But buckle up. That's all I'm going to say. This trial means more than just one man behind bars. It is not a good precedent being set. I'm not telling you to be scared, but remain vigilant. Well, that does it for RJ Rennie Unhinged episode 11. I don't know what to expect. We'll have to see how it goes, but in the immediate aftermath, it's not looking too bright. But you can't do anything about it now. I've been RJ Rennie, and this has been RJ Rennie Unhinged. See you next time.